Perfect. Cool. I'll get this started. Um, Welcome everyone to our workshop, Figma to Lottie workshop, uh, conducted by Lottie, hosted by FOF Mumbai. Very excited for this one. We are doing slash hosting a virtual workshop after a very long time. So interested to see how it goes. Very excited for this. And Lottie is one of the trending topics that a lot of designers have asked us as well to do something on. So welcome to this workshop. Who am I? I am Suraj. I'm the community lead at Friends of Figma Mumbai. I've been with the team since the last almost 2 years. And I'm also the lead product designer at FoodReady. It's a AI-based startup based out of Chicago. And I have around 6 years of experience in this field. Um, the slide doesn't make sense now because it's Q&A. But I can, yeah, you can send your reactions. Yeah, you can send your reactions. We'll try all Google features in different ways today. So yeah, I'm hoping people are excited. Yes, it's good to know how you're feeling, but I'd like to know more. I hope the polls work at least. I'll start with some basics to know more about you. Um, are you a dog person or a cat person? And now Google has decided that polls has also went. Yeah, that's the one. Yes. You can vote in the poll that has come back. Most of the times, whenever I ask this question, I clearly know who's going to win, but I hope it's the other party. And this time also, I think it's very clear the dog team is gaining momentum. Yeah, personally, I'm a cat person, always on the losing side, but yeah. Another controversial question is what's your drink of choice? It's between two stalwarts, coffee and tea. Uh, Designers and developers both cannot exist without coffee, is what I know, but I just want some data to back it up. I am a tea person. Without tea, it's incomplete. But as expected, again, coffee has taken the win. Someone said Red Bull. Oh, that's interesting. Bonvita. Yeah, I love Bonvita as well.
This is the first
Interesting.
time I'm this is the first time I'm seeing like votes for tea when the option for coffee is there. Interesting.
We don't. Okay, we have a poll for it. How? Okay, what's the first thing you do when you wake up? No poll. Just write what you feel. Is it checking your phone? Do you drink coffee, tea, whatever you selected? Meditate. Go for a run. See, the thing is, I know most of the answers will be phone. So that's why I asked this question because I am also one of you guys. Uh, Sleep again. That's someone said open up my Figma file. That's interesting.
Oh, I can understand that person because we did a workshop yesterday and I've been opening my Figma file to a lot of comments. So I can understand.
Wow, I love the commitment there. How would you ideally spend your weekends? This is a Q&A. Are you relaxing at home? You're an outdoor person, exploring new hobbies, attending cool workshops like this. I know this is another weekend. So I appreciate you guys joining you because I know it's a weekend. Weekends are usually meant for chill. But you're here, which means that you're someone who is interested in progressing your career and is interested in upskilling your skills. So kudos for that. I think this poll has been launched before. You can see it in the poll section. What is your familiarity with Figma? Are you just starting and we have used it a few times. I'm a master. You can vote. Most of the responses are I'm doing okay, which is great. We also want to know, are you familiar with using the LottieFiles plugin? Using it for the first time, used it a few times, or you use it daily? This will help us pace the session in such a way that it's comfortable for you. We have a few dailies that are like the first timers, first time daily. Yeah, a good mix of daily and first timers is what I'm seeing. That's great. I'll quickly talk about what Friends of Figma is in case you don't know about us. Friends of Figma Mumbai is the official Figma community. In Mumbai, there's around 200 plus regional FOFs worldwide. I know Yamin is associated with FF Kuala Lumpur. We are FF Mumbai. And in India alone, there's 23 regional FOFs, which is great to see. We started doing events last year. So we did around 3 to 4 events last year with config watch party, meeting our best friend developers. We did a wireframe event, which is our annual event in December. This year we started with our summer design meetup with Pineapple Studios. And after that, we have been doing back to backs. In May, we supported Puneet's UI UX designer. The company came to Mumbai. In May, we also did a meet jam, which is a casual meetup without any agenda, but you come for networking, fun, and games. June, we did a config 24 watch party supported by LottieFiles. Thanks once again. And Vichar also was supported by LottieFiles. Vichar was a 2 day event, and we had workshops, seminars, and fireside chats. So, yes. Quick stats, we really love numbers. So when we started last year, we were like 10th in India, and we are like, okay, we have some work to do to, make the Mumbai design scene a bit interesting. Glad to say that it's been a year and now we have scaled and progressed. And now Mumbai is one of the most exciting scenes in India. As a matter of fact, we have 4 design events in Mumbai today across morning, night, and afternoon. So very interesting scenes and very excited for what the next few years hold for Mumbai. If you're interested in knowing more about us, you can join our journey. This QR will give you the link to become a member, and you can also join our WhatsApp groups, socials, etc. And I'll talk a bit about LottieFiles as well. If you don't know about LottieFiles, I think you might be living under a rock. LottieFiles' impact on the community is huge, and we did not like say it because you must have seen Lottie so many times. And as designers and developers, I'm pretty sure you must have tried Lottie at some point in your careers. If you don't know what Lottie is a platform with a collection of tools which designers and developers can use to create stunning animations. And the best part about Lottie is that it's lightweight, it's open source, and it doesn't impact the performance of your applications. You will see Lottie at a lot of places like Gojek, Google, Spotify, all the interactions you see. If you are someone like me who uses Swiggy a lot, they have been using Lottie as well. So check out Lottie on the website, and they have some interesting case studies on how companies have leveraged Lottie to their full use. Talking about Spotify, we have someone here who has a great taste in music and has great Spotify playlists. I'm talking about Rishabh, of course. So I'll hand it over to Rishabh.
All right, thank you, Suraj. And hey, everyone. I'm Rishabh, community lead FOF Mumbai, and lead product designer at Interview Ready. Let's go through it now. Okay, so I think that was enough about us. Let's talk about you. So talking about location, we have people joining us from all over the world, and I'm talking 28 countries and about 5 continents. And a little sad to see Australia and Antarctica couldn't made it, but hey, we have a lot of workshops coming, so no problem. All right. By the way, do share, since we're already exploiting the Q&A feature, do share where are you coming from, okay? All right. Now talking about India, we have people joining from more about 23 states and from all these cities that you see. And of course, majority of the audience is from Mumbai. So I would be really sad if Mumbai folks are not joining. But yeah, all right. Talking about the other part is that most of our audience are working professionals, so they all got a day job. They could be chilling today, but they decided to join this workshop. So kudos to you guys. You made the right choice. And we also have students here, which is amazing. There's something to learn for everybody. So really cool stuff. Now, talking about job titles, I often find this very funny because as designers, we give ourselves multiple job titles like UX designer, UI UX designer, product designer, but at the end, we mostly do the same work. But over here, I just want to say that about 75%, roughly 75% of our audience are designers, and we also have developers with us. So let's give them a warm welcome. All right. Now coming to, I'm sorry, I have multiple screens open over here, so I'm just juggling. Uh, Talking about experience, most of our audience is entry level, but we also have a lot of people joining from different levels of their career. So we have some really experienced people. We also have mid-level people, etc. So really, really cool to see that. Now, I showed you all this data, okay? But it's basically useless if we not make use of it, right? So how about a speed networking session? Okay, let's use this format. You know what to do, okay? I don't have to say the chat isn't working, Q&A, do your thing. But yeah, let's use this format, a short intro. Where do you work or study? What are you most excited about in this workshop, and how can I connect with you? Okay, so let's use this format, and let's do some networking. Okay, finally, time to welcome our instructors. Okay, so, and when I say welcome our instructors, we are closer to the workshop and you know almost done with the opening keynote. I know I'm testing your patience, but just hold on. Talking about instructors, we have Nishi and Sanjeev with us. They are from team LottieFiles, and Nishi is senior instructional designer. Sanjeev is a senior motion designer, and they will be helping you learn to use Figma to Lottie plugin. We also have Yamin and G2 with us as our mentors. So in case if you get stuck anywhere, okay, just tag them on the Figma file, and they will be there to help you out. Okay. All right then. So let's get started. Nishi and Sanjeev, over to you.
Let me just give us. I'm supposed to give an introduction, but you guys are doing so well that I don't know how I'm going to start now. But just letting you know, we also have our Lottie Studio lead Mao, who is also joining in today. So he's going to be also one of the mentors today as well. Also, I know
Yeah,
a
thanks,
subscription.
Yamin.
Yeah, I know. Well, you weren't there, so I kind of had to leave after I do my introduction for some other commitments. But Mar's gonna be there with you guys. I'll be also with you during the entire design phase, so don't worry. But just giving you guys a bit of introduction what LottieFiles is. So we are a company which is focused on creating a motion design ecosystem for both designers and developers to come together to actually work on that amazing file format Suraj was talking about, which is, of course, a Lottie. And our aim is very, very, very simple. It's all about enabling motion. What we mean by enabling motion is that we want to make it easy for you to create animations, we want to make it easy for you guys to work with your motion designers and the product designers to come together and work on the design itself to implement motion. And of course, end of the day, we want to make it easy for you guys to implement motion. And this is what we're trying to do. So we give you guys a way to create, which is motion design tools. We give you a way to work on motion libraries with the access for designers, marketers, or developers. Yeah, thanks. And of course, we allow you to design with motion as well, where once you have a motion library, once you have motion created, we give you a way for product designers or developers to actually design with motion by accessing those amazing animations. And once done, of course, we make it easy for you to actually implement those animations, whether you're a product designer or developer. We have a massive, massive ecosystem where a plugin is connected to every single one of those famous design tools out there. And today we're going to be focusing on just motion creation. Why? Well, we know that motion creation, I mean, a lot of people will see After Effects. I know I had the conversation a lot of times. When I used to say After Effects, a lot of people would get scared, they would run away. Because learning After Effects, of course, we know is a huge learning curve. And of course, a lot of motion tools out there, you have to learn how to actually use those tools out there. It is a huge learning curve. So last year, we noticed that a lot of people were creating animations on Figma, and then they would screen record it. And we released a tool called Video to Lottie. And people were using that tool to actually put those screen recording into that tool and create Lottie animations. And then we thought, why not actually create a tool on top of the prototyping tool available on Figma and make it easy for you to create Lottie animations. So this is what we did. Imagine disconnecting a few frames and actually creating an animation. And this is what the team is actually going to go through the entire day. What we have noticed is we have reduced the learning curve by a lot, because using Figma, you're not able to create Lottie animations on the go. And we have seen over 2 million Lottie animations created. One of our mentors today, G2, breaks the plugin every day. I have no idea how he does it. He would break the plugin, and we would have a lot of stuff to actually fix. And we are now able to create all of this amazing stuff just through Figma Lottie. So this is going to be our agenda today. I'm going to introduce you to LottieFiles, and then of course Nishi and Sandeep are going to go through Figma Lottie, and then of course they're going to show you how you guys do some complex animations. We're going to give you guys a challenge, and of course there's going to be a Q&A session, as simple as that. And once you're done, if you submit everything, you're going to get a certificate of completion, a teacher certificate, and we're going to certify you on the LottieFiles profile. On the LottieFiles, on LottieFiles.com, so that you can actually give this for your CVs. You can add this to your CV, tell people, hey, I'm not only a designer or product designer, I can also animate now using Figma Lottie. Of course, if you want to see a case study, we actually have this website, which Mao and the Lottie Studio team actually worked on a couple of weeks back, where we created personalized animations for world's top designers like Frank Batch, John from Framer, Michael Rick, Tommy Gecko. So if you want to check out what this tool can do, I put the link as well. You guys can go check it out as well. So these are the things which are required for today. This is why we put out the poll. We just want to understand, if you have a basic understanding of Figma, you're already there. And we just want to have you have a love for experimentation and of course a love for motion. What is required today, I have to get out of the slides now, is very simple. We want you to be able to create a frame, put a rectangle or any shape, and actually learn how you can actually put a few frames and create a motion. That is the level of skill required for today. So don't worry if you think motion design is hard for you. And our team is going to make sure it's very slow, and they're going to take you step by step. And of course, if you have any questions during the workshop, use this comment feature. Comment, either tag me, tag Mao, tag Sanjeev, tag Nishi, or tag Jitu, and we are going to come in and we are going to help you guys out. So don't worry about it. Tag us as much as you can. Don't feel like you're annoying us. There's no such thing as annoying. Just tag us in and we'll come and we'll help you guys out. All right, this is very important. At the end of the workshop, we will provide you we need two things from you guys. We'll provide you a type form, which you have to fill in, which is important for us, so we can actually get your name, and of course, we need your profile and everything so that you can we can check your submissions. And we also need you to provide a link to your section of your animation submission. And what I mean by that is, imagine this. Let's say you create, let's say on the file itself, you have a section like this. What we want you to do is You can name, for example, say Yamin um, animation. And you can do, we have spaces provided with the Figma file. So we want you guys to work on this. And after you're done to submit, click right click, go to copy paste, and you click this button here, copy link to section, and you provide this section for us so we can verify that we have done the final challenge. You don't need to create a separate Figma file and share. It's going to be shared by the Friends of Figma Mumbai team for you guys. This I'm going to skip. I think they're going to share it afterwards. Also, if you are interested, I know that a lot of people are joining globally. We have a lot of cities that we're actually going through this year for certification events. And of course, that's it from my side. Let's get started. Nishi, Sanjeev, go out there and make these guys experts. And I hope you guys had fun. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get started. Hi, everybody, and thank you, Yamin, for setting up the stage for us. And thank you to Rishabh and Suraj also for such fun and a warm introduction. So I'm just going to quickly start by sharing my screen first, and give me a thumbs up if my screen is visible.
So when I was sharing the files there. Oh, there you go. There you go. Sorry. Thank you guys.
Okay. Suraj has, I think, shared the link to this Figma file. So just feel free to hop on in, and we will structure this workshop in such a way that I'm going to give you, Sanjib and I are going to give you introductions to a few parts, and then you all can try it out yourself. I have a few thumbs downs here.
Let's give a few minutes for people to come
Yes.
in. Yeah.
So we have two files over here depending on your initials. And I think Suraj has shared both of them in the chat for everybody who's asking on Q&A. So we have one file for people whose names begin with A to L, and another one for people whose names are starting with M to Z. So I see about 100 people in already, and we are 192, just waiting for the others, and then I'll just start in the next 3-4 minutes. Okay, I guess most of y'all are in. Just a few rules that maybe we can go through. So once you are explaining, it'll be great if you wouldn't cut and paste the visuals that we have. If you would like to work with our visual, just feel free to copy and paste it in your section. Try not cutting it, because then that will create a problem for us while we are working and showing you the demo. Okay. So first things first, I have seen that a lot of you are using the LottieFiles plugin daily, Figma daily. You guys are masters. But just for those people who haven't installed the plugin yet, I'll just quickly show you how you could do it. So for everybody who's using the new UI, you could just click on this plus icon over here. And then in the plugin section, just search for LottieFiles. So since I have it already set up, it is popping up over here, but you could just search for LottieFiles and then hit run, and then your plugin will be set up. For anybody who's using the old UI, you will have an icon like this, which you can press, navigate to the plugins tab, and just follow the same steps that I just showed. So this is how you can set up your plugin. And once your plugin is set up, you can open it from your plugins menu. You can also right click and open it from here. And before just getting into the nitty-gritties of how we can create an animation, let me just give you a quick overview of everything that this plugin can do. So first things first, you can see that we have a Discover tab over here. And I think you have already guessed what it does. It's going to show you all the animations, all the Lottie animations that are available for you guys to download in our LottieFiles extensive library. So we have both free as well as premium animations. And if you're looking for something specific that you want to put it in your project, just feel free to type in here. Just look for whatever you want, and you can just pick that animation, customize it, and start using it. The next tab that we have over here is the workspaces. So over here, people who are already familiar with the LottieFiles platform and the LottieFiles plugin, if you have an animation that you've already worked on and that, let's say, you've saved it on your workspace and now you want to bring it in your Figma file, you can do that without leaving Figma. So just navigate your workspace tab over here, open up the folder where you've saved your animation and just grab whatever you want from right here, and that's it. Now, the next tab, the most important one, is our export to Lottie tab. Okay, thanks for the feedback. I try to slow it down. Okay, so the next tab is the export to Lottie tab. And this tab is going to be like the hero of our entire workshop today. This is like the showstopper because we will be using only this tab over here. The next tab over here corresponds to tools. So in tools, we have three options. One is AI prompt to vector. The next one is raster to vector. And then we also have import Lottie animations. So in the AI prompt to vector, as the name very clearly suggests, what you can do is you have a text box over here where you can insert your prompt. Now, let's say you're looking for a loading animation or maybe just a vector of a sun. You can just type it in here. And after that, you have a few styles that you can pick from. Like, let's say you want a flat icon or maybe a basic one, or maybe you want something from the humans illustration pack. So just type in your prompt over here, choose whichever style you want and just hit generate. And within minutes, you will get a vector that you will be able to work with. The next button over here is the raster to vector. In the raster to vector tab, what you can do is, let us say that there is an image that you would like to work with. You can just browse it. You can just drag and drop your image, and it's going to be a raster image. And what the Figma plugin is going to do, LottieFiles plugin for Figma is going to do for you, it's just going to convert it into a a vector format. Okay, so I just wanted to breeze through this section because we are not going to like deep dive into this. As we move to the main part of the workshop, which is creating Lottie animation, be rest assured I'm going to go like super slow, so don't worry about it. This was just like a super quick breeze through. The reason I went so fast over here is you can just explore it at your own time later on. Today's focus is going to be on export to Lottie and creating Lottie animations in Figma. Is everybody able to set up your plugin? Should I move forward? Okay, so for anybody who is a first time user to Lottie, just don't worry or don't get overwhelmed by anything that I just said. You just have to do one thing. Okay, I'm going to show it again. In order to install the plugin, you have to click on this plus icon over here. This is going to be in the new UI. If you are using the old UI, you will have a button which looks like this that you can press. And then you have the plugins tab over here. Okay, it's taking time to sign into Lottie. All right. So this installation part, you just have to go to the plugins tab and just type in the plugin that you want. The LottieFiles is what I meant. And then you can just run it. Okay, I can see a few thumbs up, so I'm going to move forward. And once again, don't bother about the AI tools and all of that I just shared. You can just explore it at, whenever you have some time and when you feel inclined to do so. So let us talk business, because now here we are to talk about how to create animations in Lottie, right? So what we are going to do is, like Yamin mentioned before, we just need two things to start with. First, we need to make a frame. And for anybody who's new to Figma, you can just hit the F button on your keyboard. That's a shortcut to create a frame. Or you could also click on this icon over here and just draw a frame. It could be any dimension that you want. That is completely up to you. So I'm starting with this frame over here. And once you've created a frame or an artboard, the next thing that you want to do is you want to start with a shape. Because if you want to create an animation, you need an SVG, you need a vector, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this circle and I just put it in the middle of my frame. I'm just going to shut off the plugin for a bit so it's not distracting. Now I'm just going to center align it to my artboard, and that you can do from over here. Once I have my circle ready, I want to create a shape that looks like this. So for those of you who are familiar and masters of Figma, I don't think this is going to take you more than a minute, but I'm just going to slow it down for everybody else. So I'm just going to copy and paste this and just put this behind, and I'm just going to create one more circle and then just put it behind as well. Now the whole thing looks like a blob, and that is because I just have it in the same color. So I'm just going to pick a few colors from here so you can see the difference. You can see that there are 3 circles and not just one blob. And there you go. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Nishi. I think some of the folks are a bit confused on where to do the experimentation. Could you like zoom out and go down below to show them where they can actually follow you? All you need to do is just rename one of the sections to your name, and then you can follow along with Nishi and try out what Nishi is doing. So we will go through the final challenge later on. You can use the space that you're seeing right now to experiment along with Nishi. Yeah, thanks.
You will be provided with a separate space where you can do the final challenge. For now, you could just use this section, like what Mao pointed out.
Okay, back to you, Nishi.
Thank you, Mao. Is everybody clear with this? Cool. Thank you, Mao, for stepping in. Okay. So anybody who's trying to work over here, it will be great if you could just use your section, which is below over here. So you have more area and a cleaner workspace to work with. All right. So just like what Yaman showed before, I've just done 2 things. I created a frame, and then I created 3 concentric circles that are one on top of the other. Okay. All good till here? Okay, perfect. Now let us see. So we've literally just created like 3 shapes on our canvas or frame. Now let us see how we can animate it. So I showed you all how you can set up the plugin. Now just open up the plugin that you've just installed. You can go to the plugin section or just simply right click, and from the drop down that appears, just go to plugins. And over here, you will be able to see all the plugins that you have installed, and just pick LottieFiles, the one that we just set up. Okay, so once you all have your plugin opened up, once you have your plugin all opened up, just navigate to the Export to Lottie tab. When I was giving my introduction to the plugins, I just went over the first, second, and the fourth tab, and I didn't speak much about the Export to Lottie because this is the only tab that we need to worry about right now, and everything that we need to do is going to be over here. So once you navigate to your Export to Lottie tab, you can see that there is nothing right now. And you won't be able to click on the Export to Lottie button. It is grayed out, it is disabled because the plugin does not know what you want to animate. So in order to tell the plugin what you want to animate, you will have to select that frame. So you can see as soon as I selected the frame, the button is now available. It's become green, so you can click on it. All right. So it is very simple. Just draw a frame and then draw whatever shape you would like. I went with concentric circle. You can just have a single circle. You can have a square. You can have a star. Just run with it, whatever you want. So once your shape is done on your frame, just choose your frame. Don't choose the shape. Make sure you choose the frame and just hit Export to Lottie. And just like that, you can see that your shapes are now moving. Is this good till here? All right, perfect. Now, if you want to like explore more things, you can see that right below right below where the animation player is, you can see that there are a lot of presets. So you have different presets under highlight, then you have some in the second tab, which is move in, move out. So let's just click on each one of them and see what it does to your animation. Then you have a trim path preset over here, and this comes in handy when you have like a written text. It really works well with that. Then you have a few presets over here that are under move in. So just take your time and just work with whatever you like. And then we have a few presets under move out also. My personal favorite is the pulse one, which is under highlight. And I really like how it pulsates and gives you a feeling of, like a heartbeat sort of animation. So you could try this out if you want, but I'm going to stick to this for this workshop because this is my favorite. Apart from the presets, you also have a few more options right here. So one is this background color one, which you can just click on and just choose whatever you like. Right now, it's just set to transparent because that's what we've chosen here. Can you explain in which file? Okay, I'm working in the same file that Suraj has shared. I'm working on the file which is named G1A2L. But you can, just look at the screen sharing and see what I'm working on. And then I'm going to give you some time to work on the single frame and the next section that I'll cover. So don't worry about following as I'm going, because we will give you some time after this so you can just practice and ask me questions then. So for you to be able to see the presets, you need to first select the frame and press on the export to Lottie button. Only then will you be able to see these presets here. Okay, so like I said before, I'm going to go with the pulse preset. Apart from that, you also have a few more options over here. Like you have this particular button, which will allow you to, control the speed of your animation. Like you can double the speed or, even reduce it to a 0.5. Apart from that, so we've seen a few things here. So the first thing we did was we created the frame, we created the shapes we want, then we made sure that we click on the frame and then hit export to Lottie, and we chose the preset. So this is like a quick recap. And apart from that, I also showed you how we can control the animation speed. That's one. And the second thing is if you want to play around with the background color. Apart from that, you also have another option which is sort of hidden over here, which is the settings one. And over here, again, you have a few more options. You don't have to worry about this or get overwhelmed. I just want to give you an idea of everything that this plugin is capable of. For now, you can just remember to select your frame and click on the export to Lottie button. So here, once you get a hang of it, feel free to explore these options also. The duration, the start delay, and the end delay values. Let me give you like one preview of what happens when you change the end delay value. So by default, it was set to 25. But when you set it to 100, you can see that our last frame like stays on for a much longer time than it did before. So again, this is going to be very case specific. Depending on what animation you want to achieve, feel free to explore with these options. If you feel that your animation is fine, you don't have to worry about this. The only thing that you need to keep in mind right now is selecting the frame and hitting on the export to Lottie button. And that's it. We have one more drop down over here, which is your layer animation drop down. And from here, you can choose either parallel or sequential. So originally, by default, our animation was set to sequential. And that's why we had one circle appearing after the next. But if you set it to parallel, you can see all of them appear at once. So I think I'm going to stick to sequential because I like this better. Is everybody up to speed till here? I can't select the export to Lottie button. Okay, for anybody who's not able to do this, you have to remember. So right now, even my export to Lottie button is grayed out, right? It's not visible. You can't press on it. And that is because, like I mentioned before, if you want to animate something, so now in this file, there are so many visuals, right? How is your LottieFiles plugin going to know what is it supposed to animate? And that's why it's just showing you a gray button that I don't know what to do. So if you want to animate this, if you want this button to become green, just select what you want. So in this case, I'm going to select this frame. And as soon as I select the frame, you see that the button is green now. And just click on it. If you're not able to click on the button, just make sure that your frame is selected. Okay, the frame is nothing but this canvas or this artboard. If you are coming from an Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop background, it is called artboard. It's the same as a canvas or an artboard. So frame is just a name for this. Okay. Okay, so I'll move on from here now. So once you're satisfied with this animation, like I'm okay with the animation, the way it is playing over here. So now what you can do is you can insert it as a GIF in your Figma file, or you can even save it to your workspace. So let me just show you how you can insert it as a GIF. So once you have an animation that you like, just click on insert as a GIF. And once you do that, it is going to again ask you a few more questions, ask you what size you want it in, small, medium, large, choose whatever you want depending on your project. And you also have the transparency checkbox over here, and then just say insert GIF. So once you do that, there is a GIF that is going to appear. So here's mine. So what you can do is you can scale it up, and when you preview it, you can see that the animation you just created is going to appear in the form of a GIF over here. There is one thing that I would like to mention before we move forward is when you are working on a UI or a UX project where you want to insert these animations as a part of your mobile screen or a web or your web page, inserting it as a GIF is not a mandatory flow. What you need to do is you need to save this animation as a Lottie or download it as a Lottie and then hand it off to your developer who can then implement it in your UI project. And the handing off process, this is something that Sanjib will take you through once we reach towards the end. So let us come back to where we were. Once we've once we've saved it as a GIF, it now lives in our Figma file. That's great. Now it is going to ask you if you want to save your animation to your workspace. You can also hit cancel, but you could also save it. And just save it in whatever folder you want to save it. And once you save it to your workspace, why did I show you saving it to your workspace? Is because once you've saved it to your workspace, there are again a few more things that you could do. One is if you're collaborating with other people, you can just change and work on your status from over here. And you can even click on this download button, and then it's going to give you a lot of options that you can download your animation in. And again, you don't have to leave Figma. You can just do it right here. So you can download it as a Lottie JSON, optimized JSON, or even .lottie, and you can see how small the optimized .lottie is as well, right? So you can download this file, or even when you hand it off to your developer so they can implement it in your UX file, you will still have to save it on your workspace. Apart from that, you have options like MP4, WebM, MOV also that you could work with. Is this clear till here? Yes, no? Okay, perfect. I can see a lot of thumbs up. So I'm going to move forward. So I'm just going to show you the next part also before, we can break and try it out ourselves, because the next part is also pretty simple. And now that you have the basics of how the plugin works down, I think it's going to be much simpler for you. So now let us say that so now what we've already learned is we've created our own frame and we've hit export to Lottie and we are done. Okay, so for me to be able to preview the animation on Figma as a full screen, what I did was I just selected this artboard over here. So I selected this artboard because I've saved my GIF over here. Now this is your GIF, right? You can see it in my panel over here. Now let us say this is not on any screen, then it probably not on any frame, then it's probably not going to show up in Figma as a full screen. So just make sure you put it on a frame and click on this play icon or play button over here, which is the present button. So once you do that, automatically it's going to open up a new tab and you will see your GIF play over here. Okay, perfect. So let us move to the next one. So I'm going to use the same example. So right now we saw that we just chose this one frame and then we hit export to Lottie and we were at the mercy of all the presets that were available. Now let's say that you want more control, you want to do something more with this. So what I have in mind is that I now want these circles to like enlarge as we move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this frame. So how do you duplicate? For anybody who's new to Figma, just choose your frame over here, click on the option button or the alt button, and you can see that the minute I do this, my arrow becomes like a double arrow where I have like a white arrow below it, and just drag it. That's it. Okay, so this is how you can also duplicate your frame. Now, let me just talk about one small thing that you need to keep in mind is when there is a reason why I duplicated this and not create a new frame. Now, this is a question that we get very often in these workshops. Is what a lot of people tend to do is we create a new frame and then we create the same design again with these circles again stacked on top of another. Now, this is something that we need to avoid. There is one hygiene, like one rule that you have to sort of follow when you're animating using the LottieFiles plugin, is that when you're animating using frames, like multiple frames, even when you're animating using prototype or just working with frames, you have to make sure that you have all of these layers. So like you can see in my first artboard or my first frame, there are about 3 layers, right? 3 circles. And in my second frame also, there have to be 3 layers, and they also have to have the same names and they have to be in the same order. So let us say I don't do this and I create a new frame from scratch and new ellipses from scratch. That rule is not being followed over here and my animation may not render properly. So this is a rule that you have to keep in mind, that if you want a flawless animation, if you want no glitches, if you want an error-free animation, just duplicate your frame and then work with it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the size of this because I want the circles to like increase as we move. Now what you need to do is now what we've already done is we've selected one frame and hit export to Lottie and played around with the presets, right? So now if I want this animation to if I want this frame to transition into this and make an animation out of this, super simple. Just click on both of these frames. You can drag and choose as many frames as you have, or you can hold down shift and choose all the frames and hit export to Lottie. And you can see how the circles are now enlarging, just the way you wanted it. Is this clear? Do you want me to go over it again? I can see some crying emojis. Okay, don't worry. Nothing to worry about. Yes, I'm going to repeat it. So I'm just going to start by deleting my frame. This is the first frame which we took from here, right? So we started with this one frame that we worked on. So what I've done is I'm using the same frame. I've not done anything new over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this frame. That's all. Okay, I just did one step right now. I just duplicated it. All right, no rocket science here. Once that's done, I'm just going to choose all of these circles at once because I want to scale them down. Now this is my way of doing it because that's the animation I want. If you want, you can just enlarge one or just enlarge two and keep the center one the way it is. That's up to you. Now these steps kind of are case specific depending on the animation that you want to go for. Now I want an animation where I want all of these 3 circles to rotate. Okay, could you just copy my file and not make changes over here? Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to take this down so you can copy and paste it in your workflow, and I'm just going to duplicate a new one for me. Okay, so now, like I mentioned before, I'm just going to scale this up because I want the circles to like just scale up as we move. And now I just do one step extra from what we did last time. So instead of just choosing one frame and hit export to Lottie, it's going to give us the same result that we got in our previous section. So now I don't want to settle with this. I want my animations to advance. So I'm just going to select both the frames together and hit export to Lottie. Any questions in this section? Okay, I think I can see a lot of thumbs ups now, so that is great. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take some time. We are going to take some time and let us just, try to animate using single frame and multiple frames over here in your section. I can see that some of you already have some cool stuff going on in there. So Sanjib, Mao, me, Yamin are all here. If you want to ask any questions, we'll just spend a few minutes working on this and you all can let me know once you're ready, then we can move on to the next section. And here's the good news for all of you. if you're done with this, if you have mastered animating using a single frame and multiple frames, then let me tell you, half of the workshop is already over for you, because there are just two things that we need to learn while animating using the LottieFiles plugin. We need to learn how we can animate using frames, and the second one is how we can animate using prototypes. That is what I'm going to touch upon as we move forward. And once you learn these two things, that's it. The workshop is over for you. After that, we are only going to look at things that, we are only going to look at things that how we can use these two fundamentals that we've just mastered, and then how we can apply it to everything else. So if you get these two things, you're done. You don't need anything more. Do you mean presets? Somebody asked me about a question about how do I see different animations. Do you mean presets by that, by any chance? Okay, there's one more question. After you insert it as a GIF, where do I find it? Okay, so what happens when you insert it as a GIF in your using the LottieFiles plugin is it is going to take like the first frame of your animation, and if it is empty, then you're just going to get like a plain box. You can always look at it from your layer section over here, but it will be there. So if you're not able to see it, that's probably because it's like grabbing the first frame, which is like a empty frame. But you can always like refer to your layer section to see where if your GIF has been inserted or not. Okay, so somebody has said, yes, they are talking about presets. So let me just back up and go to the first part here again. So the presets, you will be able to see the presets when you choose a single frame. So if you are working with two frames, now in this animation, we are working with two frames. So if you're going to choose these two frames together and hit export to Lottie, you are not going to get the presets option. And that is because you have a clear direction in mind. You want your circles to appear this way, and you are telling the plugin that you want this frame after this frame, and this is the animation you want to go with. So the presets are not going to appear over here. It's only when you work with a single frame, that's when the presets are going to appear, because you just have like one frame and then the plugin is doing the job for you, where it is giving you options of how you can animate it differently. Is everybody up to speed till here? Should we move to the next part? Okay, perfect. Okay, so now that most of you have mastered how to work with single and multiple frames, like I mentioned before, welcome to the second half. So in this part, we are just going to learn how to animate using prototypes. Now we've seen that we have a bunch of frames over here, and we have a bunch of frames over here as well. Now let us see why we need to choose a prototype versus just doing what we just did. Right? So let me first show you how this will look once it's implemented. So, wait. Okay, so you can see that this is an example of once you create a Lottie animation, when you insert it in the UI or your project that you're working on, this looks like a mobile screen. So when you implement it in mobile screen, this is what it's going to look like. And this is what I'm going to show you how you can create right now. So over here, I have a bunch of visuals that I would like to work with. So just going down to the basics again, all of us know what an animation is, right? An animation is nothing but a sequence of images. So what I have over here is a sequence of visuals that I want to animate one after the other. So I get this nice high five animation that I have over here. Now you might argue that we just learned how to, select all the frames and just hit export to Lottie. Sure, you can do that and you can see it works as well. But there are a lot of things that's not working right with it. One, the speed is not to your liking, so you don't have control over that. All you can do is just experiment with this button over here, and you may not have control over specific frames. Now, in order to address this problem and create like more advanced or more complicated animations, you need to turn this into a prototype. So now I've seen that a lot of you all in the poll said that you are a master of, Figma. So you guys already have the basics of prototyping down, but I'm just going to show it once again for everybody else who could be new to Figma. So like I mentioned, this is the beginning where I have a sequence of images that I've already like created. Now I'm going to create a prototype. So I get a nice hi-fi animation that I just showed you all in the screen over here. So now let us begin by how to turn it into a prototype, right? Okay, just try and copy these artboards instead of taking the ones on top, because these are already turned into a prototype. So you might not, these ones are like not linked up. So you can do the linking by yourself. Okay. Yeah, so once everybody, okay. Let me just do one thing. I'm just going to create, can you guys stop for a minute so I can just create a duplicate of this and then you can grab the frames from there? Because if I have to work with this, yeah, perfect. Just go ahead and you can grab these frames. And don't worry, like we had some time before for trying out the single and multiple, we will take some time to try this out as well. So once again, I request all of you to grab these instead of these because I'm going to show you the demo on these frames here. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to wait for a couple minutes till you all are done. Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, Nishi, I just wanted to mention something that the designated area that we have for you all to, experiment with the plugin, it's huge. If you can, zoom in into your work area, you will see it's like somewhere 10,000 into 5,000. So it's huge. So if you can just create a frame that's 500 by 500 pixel, should be enough. So you have a lot, realistic to create your animation. So I'm just seeing a lot of people is creating big frames and they don't have any more space to try, the animations that we're going to learn later. So just wanted to mention this. Thank you.
That is such a valid point, Sanjay. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Okay, so I hope you guys have, copied your frames. So now let me move forward and create a prototype. Again, even if you've not copied, that's fine because I'm going to give you all some time after I finish explaining what this is about. So don't worry about it. Okay, so in order to convert this or create a prototype, you can choose your frame and then you can navigate to the prototype section. So I'm just going to again shut off the plugin for a minute to avoid distractions. So what you can do is just choose the frame, the first frame of your entire sequence, and navigate to the prototype section or the prototype tab from here. For anybody who's not able to find the prototype section, just you can look at the screen and it's on the right on the new UI. You can just click on this prototype tab over here and then you will get the settings that are related to prototypes over here. Okay. So once that's done, just click on this button which says flow starting point. So once you click on the plus icon, this is going to determine where your flow or where your prototype is going to start from. So this automatically becomes the first frame of your prototype. Now by default, it is just going to name it as flow 1, 2, 3, whatever, depending on how many prototype flows you already have in your file. And I'm just going to rename it to, let's say, I'm going to call it high five 2 because we have a high five 1 on top. Okay, so this is clear. I just chose the first frame. I went to my prototype tabs and I clicked on the plus icon over here, and that allowed me to define the starting point of my prototypes. So once I did that, you can just rename it. You can just leave it to default, but it's always nice to rename it so you know which flow you are working with. So once you're done, all you have to do is, so when you hover over your frame here, you will see that a plus icon will appear. And once that button or that icon appears, just click on it and drag, and you should have this nice arrow which will move as you move your cursor. And all you have to do is link it to your second frame. So now again, I just want to talk about one small thing that you need to take care of. Oftentimes when you're prototyping, what happens is there are times when you can accidentally connect your object or your layer to another frame, or maybe a layer to layer. So this is something that you have to avoid. So just make sure that you choose your frame and connect it to the next frame. Repeating myself again, do not connect an object to another frame or an object to another object. Just remember that you have to connect your one frame to the next. So as soon as you connect your frame 1 to frame 2, it will again show you another menu, and it will have a bunch of options. So by default, this is going to be set to instant. So the animation drop down over here is, so this is what your drop down is going to look like once you connect your frame 1 to frame 2. So it's going to change, it's going to be set to instant. Now, don't worry about all of these drop downs over here. Just forget that they even exist. There is only one thing that you need to remember and worry about is the animation drop down. This is what we will be working with. So change the animation drop down from instant to smart animate. Is this clear, everybody? Okay, great. So I'm just going to repeat myself once again. So when I connect my frame 1 to frame 2, by default, my animation setting is going to be at instant. I'm just going to change it to smart animate. Now again, this is going to be set to, by default, it's probably going to be ease in, ease out. I think it's going to be set to ease out. So you can just leave it at ease out. And if you want, when you have some time to try out how to animate using prototypes, just feel free to, play around with these options and see the way it's going to affect your animation. So I'm just going to leave it at ease out. And by default, again, my duration is set to this value. So again, feel free to change it. Right now, you can leave it as it is to see how it's actually working on your animation. Okay, there is one question that says show from start. So I'm just going to do that again. So we have a sequence of our frames over here. So I'm just going to choose my first frame. And after choosing my first frame, I'm going to navigate to prototype from design, which is an option over here on the top right of my new Figma UI. So I click over there and I click on the plus icon, which is next to the flow starting point. And as soon as I do it, I'm going to have like a, flow. I'm going to have this label here on top, which sort of tells you that this is going to be the first frame of your animation. And this is what your prototype or your animation is going to start with. So just rename it to whatever you feel appropriate. I'm just going to call it Hi-Fi 2 here. So this is how you can change to prototype, and you can set the first frame of your prototype. Once you're done with that, connect your first frame to the second frame. I repeat, connect only frames to frames and do not connect objects. And in the animation setting over here, change from instant to smart animate. And you can again play around with these. You can use after delay, but I will show you what after delay is going to do to your animation in just a bit. So for now, you can just leave it to ease out, ease in and out, and whatever you want. So another good thing about Figma prototypes is now once I connect my frame 1 to my frame 2, when I'm connecting my frame 2 to frame 3, those settings are automatically going to be the same. You don't need to make the trigger after delay for now. I'm just going to show you why we need to do it. For now, you can just leave it to on click. So I'm just going to string my one frame to the next, and again, not bother about all of this. Okay, I would appreciate if you guys don't change the settings on my Figma prototype over here, because then it's going to get exported with errors. So just try and work with these, or just copy and paste it. I'm just going to have to delink this because okay, so these are my settings, and you feel free to copy and paste them. I request you guys not to change anything out here. Okay, so my trigger is set to on click. The only thing that I've made a changes is change my animation from instant to smart animate, and I've left my curve at ease out, and the duration is also set to 300. So I'm just going to copy these. I mean, I don't even have to copy this because that's the good thing about Figma prototypes. Once you start stringing your frames one after the other, it's just going to take the same settings. So once I do, Okay, 1 second. Yes, Sanjay.
Yeah, Nishi, I think what's happening is since so many people are there in this file, and everybody is trying out the prototype also, and their last settings is showing in your
Okay,
site.
okay, okay. Got it.
I think that's the thing is happening.
Okay, no problem. So these are my settings that I'm going to use for now. And just make sure that you connect the last frame to your first frame also. So you have a nice and a loopy animation. Okay, so once you've strung your prototype, the next thing that you... Yes, Sanjay.
So sorry, Nishi, to break your flow. I just wanted to make this quick announcement. A lot of people are deleting someone else's work by mistake. Please be careful while you are moving around the file, because a lot of people are there inside this one single file, and we're all working in this animation. So if it gets deleted, just quickly do an undo. It will solve the problem. And please be a little bit more careful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. So before moving on, I'm just going to quickly check my settings to see that nothing has changed so far. Okay, so this looks good. This looks all right to me. Now what I'm going to do is... Okay, oh, what happened? Okay, so just back to our prototype again. So what I'm going to do is, once you've strung your prototype and once you're happy with it, guys, you can copy it from here. You can copy it from here. So there are two sections assigned over here specifically for you guys to copy from. So it'd be great if you could just copy it from here. And we can leave this work area as separate, so I can show you exactly what, you know, we need to follow. Okay, so now that we have strung our prototype along, the next thing that we need to do is we need to select our prototype flow from here. Now that we are not working on any animations, now that we are not working with just single or multiple frames, now that we are working with prototypes, this is the drop down that we should concern ourselves with. So I'm going to choose the select prototype flow drop down, and we just created a prototype which is called High 2. And because there are so many prototypes in this, I'm just going to have to find mine. Okay, I'm just going to rename this to another name. So I'm just going to call it High 5 Nishi. So I make sure I choose the right one.
Nishi, I think we don't see the drop down because the screen is not shared the correct way, I think. If you can reshare the screen,
yes,
would be great.
Okay, is my screen visible now? Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
yes.
So, sorry about this. Okay,
No
so
worries.
I have renamed my prototype just now to High 5 Nishi. And because this is a big file and we have so many people working on this, I'm just going to look for my file. I already found it. So I choose the prototype that I created, and you can see that I have this High 5 that is working for us. Right? So now you might ask me again that, oh, but this is the same thing that you just showed us when you chose all the frames together. What is so great that you're doing by stringing it with a prototype, right? So one thing I tell you, what I'm going to do is I want to make this entire animation faster. So in order to make this faster, I'm just going to change the speed on each of these frames. So right now I had set it to 300. So I'm just going to make it, I'm just going to change the timing to 100. And just make sure, if you're going to play around with the time settings and change the time, just make sure you do it for every frame, because then the animation speed consistency will be maintained throughout. So I choose my next frame again. I click on my arrow. I change my 300 to 100. And then patiently, I will move from one frame to the next while I change my time settings from here. And once again, just make sure that you change the setting on your last frame to your first frame as well. So once you do that, in order to preview your animation that you have made changes to, you don't have to go back, choose your flow again and do all of that. You can just click on this refresh flow button over here, and you can see that my animation has sped up considerably. It's almost looking like super fast right now, right? So that now again, Again, one could argue that you can just change the speed and all of that, but there is more control that you have when you make prototypes. Now let us say that in this action of where there are two hands high-fiving each other, let us say that you want this frame to stay on the animation a bit longer than the rest. What you need to do is you need to change the trigger. So I remember earlier some of you were asking me about after delay, and this is what after delay is going to do to your animation. So I'm okay with this animation. It's just going and just high-fiving and everything. But if I want this part where the hands are sort of clapping and high-fiving each other, if I want this frame to stay longer, I'm just going to change the trigger from on click to after delay, which is the last option over here. And by default, it comes with its own timing. You don't have to bother about changing this. And once again, we don't have to go back. Just click on the refresh flow button over here, and you can see that the entire animation is at the same speed as before. But the part where our two hands are meeting and sort of high-fiving each other, you can see that it stays on for longer. So I just want to give a quick recap. So what we did was we navigated to prototype from design over here, and before starting we just clicked on this plus icon over here to determine or to tell your Figma and the LottieFiles plugin which is going to be your starting frame. And then all we did was we just connected one frame to another. If you have copied these exact frames, there shouldn't be a problem. But when you're doing your own animations, just remember that thing I mentioned before, where all of these layers have to be present in all of these frames, and that they have to have the same name as well. If let's say your hand is missing from the other frame, or there is some other problem, or there is a new object that is suddenly appearing, then the animation is not going to work as desired. Just make sure that you have all the layers with the same name and in the same order. So let us take some more time so you all can just work in your designated areas and see how you can create prototypes. I'll just check the question section real quick if there is anything. Okay, just to answer Komal's question, were you referring to the 2x speed in the plugin? Okay, before I answer, before Komal till Komal answers, I'm just going to answer another question on a recap to how to show I slowed down the clap bit. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so over here, because I wanted so I'm just going to delete this. One second. So I'm just going to break this connection off, and I'm going to connect this over here and set it to. So initially, when the clap was moving at the same speed as the rest of the animation, these were the settings that were applied to it. So the trigger was on click, and the rest was the same as everything else. Right. So what we are going to do is, if we want this part, right? So what we want in our animation to do is we want our animation to flow from this frame to this frame to this frame. And when it is flowing from this frame to this frame, I want this frame to stay on a bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the on click to after delay. So what we are actually doing when we hit after delay is, in our animation, we are just, telling the plugin or Figma, and we are telling them that make this frame appear a little bit later after a delay of 800 milliseconds, right? So this is what we are doing. We are changing the trigger from on click to after delay, and that should solve your problem of making the clap stay on for a bit longer. Does this answer your question? All good? Okay, so somebody's saying that they're not able to see my flow from the drop down. So one thing, just make sure that you have set a starting point. And also one advice is just try to rename it with unique names, because if most of you are going to give names like high five and stuff, it could be difficult to navigate through all of these flows and all of these high fives to find the flow that you are working on. So just two things, make sure you've set the starting point and given it a unique name if you can. So is this clear, everybody, up to speed till here? Do you want some more time to just try it out in your work area? Okay, a lot of thumbs ups, and that's great. So like I said before, it's done. So now you know how to animate using single frame, you know, multiple frames, and you know how to do it with prototypes also. So this workshop is actually done for you, because this is the groundwork. These are the fundamentals. Oh, don't worry, the workshop is going to be, we are going to show you more things. But what I mean by that is whatever you had to learn, you've learned. Now what we'll do is we'll just show you how you can take these fundamentals and take these basics and apply it to more complex animations. So the next one that we are going to look at is, before we sort of start moving around, you can just copy the single frame. Don't copy this flow just yet. Once we finish explaining the demo, then you can, you know, work with this flow. But this is a extra frame that I sort of created for you guys, that you can just copy and paste it in your specific sections. Okay, so what we are going to create now is, let's have a look at this. So if you look at this example over here, what you need to observe is, this is like a design for a web page, specifically maybe for an e-commerce website. And you can see that usually these kind of sites have these things on top which boast a discount that they're offering. It's like 10% off in this case. And if you look at this subtle animation on top, where you have a gradient that is flowing from left to right to just grab the user's attention and tell them that, hey, this is on 10% off, right? So we are just going to try and create something like this. This is an example of what it will look like once you apply it in your design. So in this one, we will be working with these gradients. So now just look at the screen and just try to follow what I'm trying to show you. Now this is the first frame that we are going to work with. And by default, because we were working with prototypes before, you should be in the prototypes tab. But what you could do is you can just navigate to the design section, so you can make all changes and create your sequences and everything. So up until now, where we did the high five animation, we already have the flow or the visuals already set up for us, and all we had to do was just string it up. But this time I'm also going to show you, I'm also going to create this sequence with you. So what we'll do is, we will first work on this one frame. We will add the gradient to this frame, and then we are going to make the duplicates and then again turn it into a prototype. So from here on, from henceforth, whatever we are working on, we are going to convert them into prototypes. So we will be applying the same principles that we applied before, navigating to prototypes, setting up the start flow, and just stringing your frames together. Now there are just some basic rules and some things that you need to take care of when you're working with different features. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first frame over here, and you can see when I go to the fill section, you can see that it is set to a solid fill, right? So in order to add a gradient to this, I'm just going to choose this second option over here, which is the gradient fill option. And as soon as I do it, you can see that I have a nice gradation that is sweeping through my button from left to right. For anybody who's new to Figma, you can add gradient to your shape or to your form by going to the fill section or the fill box over here, and then navigating to the gradient button from here. I'm assuming this is all good for everybody. You all have found where the gradient option is for people who are new to Figma. Okay, perfect. Now, in the example that we just saw, you can see that there are about 3 color stops, right? So we have orange on the left, we have orange on the right, and then we have like a strip in the middle, which is a slightly, lighter tone. So what I'm going to do is, right now, by default, I just get 2 color stops, like 2 endpoints. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add one in the center, so we can have this thing where we have oranges on the sides and a light color in the middle. So I'm just going to create one over here, and you can see that right now this is set to a darker shade, but the extremes have the same color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the color code from my first code and apply it to my last last color stop over here. So the ends have the same color, and in the middle I have like a slightly darker tinge, and this is something that appeared on default when I chose the gradient option. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this color to like a slightly lighter one, so it kind of looks nice, and this is what we want to achieve. Okay, so this time, instead of starting with the first frame and moving to the last frame, we have created a visual that corresponds to the middle frame, right? So what we're going to do is, now that we have all of our 3 color stops ready, all we have to do is just duplicate this. So don't worry, just duplicate it and make like 4 frames which look exactly the same. Now what we're going to do is, now the first frame over here is completely orange. It does not have any gradient, right? So what we are going to do is, I'm just going to change the color of my middle portion to the same orange. So what you can do is just copy the color from here and paste it in this one. You can see that the button now has a solid, visually solid color, although it has a gradient with 3 stops. Is this clear for everybody? Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is, now what happens is, you saw that when prototyping, it is going to take information from frame 1, frame 2, and then transition it, right? So if, let's say we prototype first frame to the second frame, what is going to happen is it's just going to change this color to this color, right? But that's not what we want. We want like a, okay, why not make it a solid instead? I will just explain that in a bit. So the reason why we are using a gradient, the same color gradient stops instead of going for a solid one, is because then the plugin won't be able to transition between your 2 frames. So you need to have a gradient even if the visually it looks like a flat color. So that's why we've given like the same color to all 3 stops. So what we're going to do is, in order for the, so now you saw this example, right? You saw that the gradient is flowing from left to right. It's just not changing color in the middle. So what we're going to do is, we're going to push this center color stop to the extreme left. So you can see over here that both of these are at 0% and the last one is at 100%. The reason why we have to move the center gradient to extreme left is because we don't just want to change the color, we want a sweeping motion also, which is sort of giving you a hint that the gradient is moving from left to right. So if you want the movement, then you will have to move the color stop from center to extreme left. Now in the middle frame, you don't have to change the color because you can see that the color is already there, but now it is going to start its journey. It's going to start its travel. So I'm not going to change its color. I'm going to keep the color the same, but I'm going to take it all the way to the left. So this sort of starts the gradient's journey from left to right. Now the middle frame is something that we've already created, so I'm not going to touch that. Great, this is done. In the last frame, we have to do the same thing as the first frame. So what we did was, we changed the color of the middle color to the same color, so it looks visually flat. And then what we can do is, you can just, now in the first frame, what did we do? We took the center color stop to the left one, but because in the last frame it has to make its journey towards the right, instead of moving it towards the left, I'm going to move it to the right. So what are the few things that I did over here is, I created a linear gradient with 3 color stops, and 2 of them in this frame have the same color, and the center one has a different color because this is like one of our main frames. And then in the first frame, we just shifted the center color to the left, and in the last frame we moved it towards the right. So you can see that there is movement of the center color stop. So it's left over here and it's somewhere in the middle over here, and then it moves towards the right. Is this clear what we did and why we did it? All right, great. Now the second thing, we've already covered that in our high 5 thing, where we just convert this into a prototype. So people who are a little bit confused in the beginning about prototypes, you can follow and look at the screen once again. So once again, I choose my first frame, go to my prototype section, click on my flow starting point because I need to give it a starting point. And I'm just going to change this to gradient and niche. So what I'm going to do now is, before I move forward, I'm just going to I'm just going to copy this sequence for you and paste it down here so you can copy it from here. Okay, so now, like I mentioned before, I'm just going to string this so to convert this into a prototype. So I connect the first frame to the next, and over here again you can leave your animation to smart animate, and your by default it's going to be set to 300, so you can leave it right there. For people using the old UI, you will have the start flow point in the same way that you can see over here, right where your prototype is. Prototype tab is just below that. It will ask you to set a starting point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change my animation to smart animate and leave all the other settings to default, just the way I had before. So right now it is set to 300, but this animation can be a little slower. So if you want, you can just change it to 400, or maybe even just if you want it slightly slower, you can leave it at 350. And then I'm just going to connect all of these again. And I'm also going to connect my last frame to my first frame. And now let us see what is happening to our animation. So once again, open up your LottieFiles for Figma plugin, go to export to Lottie and choose your prototype flow from here. I hope my dropdown is visible for everybody. Okay, perfect. So just give me a minute till I find the flow I'm working on, because there's so many of them. Okay, found it. So gradient Nishi. So now you can see what is happening over here, right? Is this similar to the example that we just saw? No, right? There are some issues that we can fix. So first things first, you can see what is happening. Instead of having a nice smooth sweeping motion from left to right, it's sort of choppy, right? It travels from the left, sort of stops in the middle, and then moves off to the right. There is a very easy fix for that. So while it is moving from this frame to this frame, it feels a bit choppy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to change one thing. So by default, your curve is set to ease out, right? So just change it to ease in. So now when I refresh it, you can see that the gradient is like moving off in a one smooth sweep from left to right, correct? So I just changed one thing over here in order to overcome the choppiness. I just changed my curve from ease out to ease in. Now there is one more thing which is still a little bit different from what we just saw over here, right? So you can see that the first frame is staying on a little bit longer before the animation starts. Now this is something similar to what we did before. Can anybody from the audience guess what we need to change in order to get that effect? Yes, that's correct. So you just need to add an after delay over here. So let us choose our first frame. This is exactly the same that we did before, and change our on click to after delay. So now when you refresh your flow, you can see that the orange, the first frame, is going to stay a bit longer before it moves from the left to right. Do we select flow starting point for adding the animations or all frames? So if you're going to use prototypes to animate and create Lottie animations, you have to define a starting point. And this is something which you have to do for creating prototypes anyway. And even if you don't, the minute you string something, I think the start point will sort of appear automatically. Let me just put that theory to test. So let us say I'm converting this to this. So there is no start point right now, but if I'm just going to connect this to this, you can see that by default it has added the first frame. It has added the start point to the first frame. So even if you don't do it consciously and intentionally, the minute you string frames along, is going to happen. Okay, so again, if you want to export it, it's the same way that I showed before. You can save it to your workspace. If you want to download it as a Lottie, you still will have to save it to your workspace before you can download it. So if you want to download your file, just save it to your workspace and then download it from there. So just a quick recap of a few things that you need to remember while you're animating, creating Lottie animations in Figma. One, make sure that all the layers are present in all the frames. They should be in the same order. And another thing that you also need to remember if you're going to work with gradients is, even though it may look like it just has one color and your frame has 3 stalks, make sure that all the frames have the same number of color stops. Otherwise, your animation may not work properly. I'm just going to take a pause for a few moments here and then move forward. I hope the pace is okay for you all. Okay, there's one question. How does one know when to ease in or ease out? So I think it depends on the animation that you create. So by default, when we were creating the gradient animation, everything was set to ease out, but you saw that, it was a little bit choppy. So you can experiment and see what works for your animation the best. And if there are any theories for using ease in and ease out, I think Mao and like Sanjib would be best to enlighten us on that.
Yeah. So ease in and ease out is nothing but how the animation moves in time. So if you choose ease in, the animation will start very fast and it will slow at the end. And if you choose ease out, it means the animation will start slow and end fast. And depending upon the animation that you want to achieve, you can do some trial and error, do some experiment with all the other options. You have ease in and out. That means the animation starts slow, and in the middle it picks up, and in the end it's ends slow. So yeah, I hope it helped.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjib. Okay, I have two questions over here. Understood the prototype, but still confused for the gradient. Kunjan, can you tell us what specifically are you confused about for the gradient? If you could just type that out so I could help you with your specific issue. But just to touch upon it broadly, it is just remember that it is important for every frame to have the same number of color stops. So let us say that you just leave this to maybe a solid frame with just an orange shade over here, and then you just connect this. Sorry. And then you just connect this over here, and this is solid to gradient. So the animation is not going to work for you as you would want it to. So it is always better, in order to avoid any errors, to have the same number of color stops. And the reason that we have 3 over here is because we have like 2 colors on left and right and 1 in the center. And even though this frame looks like it has only 2 gradients, make sure that you add the number of color stops which are the maximum. Now let's say there is another frame which has 4 gradients or 4 color stops, then in that case you will have to add 1 color stop over here as well. So creating an animation with in the plugin with the prototype, do we select the flow starting point frame only? Yeah, so because you will be doing it one frame after the other, I think you will be so let us say that I want to convert this into a prototype. So you can just okay, let me just make this, I can just duplicate it over here. And right now, even if you are in the prototype setting, nothing is happening, right? So you have to connect one frame to the other, and then it automatically gets created, if that's what your question is. Okay, is everybody okay with? Okay, so how did you get the light shade gradient at the start to show a smooth flow in animation? Okay, so what you can do is, now let us have a look at this flow that we created, right? I'm just going to go and open up my fill panel over here, and you can see that this is set to a linear gradient. And you can see that although it looks like a flat color, it actually has 3 colors inside of it. And to give it like a flat finish, like a solid color finish, what we've done is we've added the same color. So I think this part is clear with you, right? You are worried, you are more concerned about how it's moving. Am I right, Gunjan? If you could just give me a thumbs up. Okay, yes, great. So what we are doing in order to achieve that motion is, now this is the middle color stock, right? So let us say I just leave it in the middle for everyone. So so what I do is, maybe I can just change this to this, and I can just give that light color. Okay, not this one, sorry. And I'm just going to change the color of this to this light color, right? And then this is here, I have this in the middle, and over here again, one second. Okay, so over here also I have this in the middle. So what I'm doing is I'm not changing. I just made a small mistake. Let me just copy paste this. No, this is right. So what I did was, if you look at this now, you have the places of all the color stops the same. So everything is at 0, 50, and 100 for all the frames. So now if you're just going to animate this and just change the color, your gradient is not going to move. What your gradient will do is this middle color stop, this middle stop or this middle color that you have, that is only going to change its color from the first frame to the last frame. It's not going to move. So this is, let me just check the name of this prototype. It's gradient issue. Okay. Just give me a minute till I. Okay, there you go. You see what happened? Yeah. So what happens is, if you just change the color at point number 50, it's just going to give you a color changing animation and not move your animation. So for you to have that sweeping motion, you also have to change the position of the stop. And that's why we had set the starting position of the middle stop to the extreme left. And then when you reach this stage, the stop was in the middle. And when you reach the last frame, the stop was on the right. So for your gradient to move, you have to animate the keyframes of the center stop. I hope it's not too complicated. Are you following? Okay, perfect. So the reason why we have to change the stops and move them from left to right is for us to get that smooth sweeping motion from left to right. Left to right. Okay, perfect. So is everybody okay with this? Shall I move to the last flow before I give it off to Sanjay? Okay, great. Okay, now here is another use case. So this is again a mobile UI, and you must have seen this particular animation at a lot of places, where you have like this particular user who's typing something and you have this nice chat icon which is sort of animating. So let me show you how you can animate this, and let me tell you, this is one of the simplest animations. It's simpler than the gradient one for sure, because there are not too many things. There's just one thing that you need to know. So for Figma users who already know this, what I have done is we have assigned this. So the base shape, which is this particular shape, and the 3 dots. Now these have been given an auto layout. So what I mean by giving it an auto layout is, let us say you increase something like this, then you can see that the base shape is also increasing with it. So what we've done is we've given this an auto layout. So if you make any changes to any of the components, then your base shape is going to increase or decrease with it. So that's the only thing that I have done over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a few duplicates. And like before, I have created one frame over here that you could copy and use. So I can work on this particular frame for the demo. So just grab this one at the bottom, or you could just wait till I create this entire sequence and then just copy paste the whole thing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly duplicate this, and maybe this time I can go one by one instead of duplicating all of them together. So once again, just try and grab this one over here. I've left this here for you guys specifically so that I can work on this section for the demo. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to increase the size of this first dot. So just choose the first dot and increase it. But instead of doing it arbitrarily like this, I'm going to use these fields over here. So I can increase it to a specific value. So let's say 12. So when I'm going to scale up the second dot and the third dot, I can just ensure that they are of the same size. And you can see what happened over here, right? So the minute I increase this to say 12 pixels, you can see that the bottom shape also increased with it. Now I'm going to duplicate this once again, and I'm going to increase the size of the second dot as well. So again, choose the second dot and click on 12. Now, once more, I'm going to duplicate this, and this time I'm going to scale up the third dot. Okay. Now, once this is done, I'm going to have to go back and create the small ones again, right? So I'm going to duplicate this, and this time I'm just going to make the first one smaller. So earlier, when I was changing this to 12 pixels, we saw that the size of the smaller dot was around 5.83. So I'm just going to click on the first dot and change it to 5.83. Now, once again, I duplicate this and I change the second dot also to 5.83. Also, if you are going to work with values, just make sure that this link button over here is selected. Otherwise, if it's not, and if you change it over here, this is what's going to happen. And you don't want this. So just make sure that this link button over here is selected and it's clicked. So it is going to transform uniformly. So once again, what we're going to do next is just turn it into a prototype. So like I said, this is one of the simplest animations that we've done. So just go to your prototype once again and just give it a starting point. And this time I'm going to call it chat icon Nishi. And I am not going to make any changes to my prototype settings. I'm just going to leave it to the defaults. So I'm okay with on click. I'm okay with smart animate. I mean, I have to change it to smart animate, and I'm just going to leave it at ease out. My speed is set to 300, which also I'm okay with. So I'm just going to string one frame to the next. Again, remember to just string frame to frame and not frame to object. And smart animate ease out value is cool. So I'm just going to quickly do this for all the other frames one by one. And I will also connect my last frame to my first frame, so the animation loops. So I've not done anything different over here. All I did was I just, while creating the sequence, I just increased and decreased the size of the circles inside it and create the prototype. And I just, while prototyping also, I just changed one setting, which is I changed my animation to smart animate from instant, and that's all. I've not changed any other setting. So once again, to preview the animation, just open up your LottieFiles plugin, and of course export to Lottie tab, and in your prototype flow just look for chat icon Nishi, because that's the one I just created. Okay, oops. Okay, there you go, and there it is. That's how your typing chat icon animates for you. And once again, just if you want to download it, or if you want to grab a link for handoff, which Sanjib is going to show us in a bit, just make sure you save it to your workspace. Please do the prototype flow again. All right. So I'm just going to de-link all of this once again. Oops. Okay, so I have not changed anything. So I just went to prototype and hit plus so that I can set this to a prototype. And I just left all the values to defaults. Okay, let me just, before I turn this into a prototype, I'm just going to copy and paste this flow over here so you guys can, oops, sorry. Now this happened because I'm in my prototype tab and not my design tab. So I'm just going to grab this here so you guys can copy the entire sequence from here. So I'm just going to go back to my prototype flow, hit starting point, and I'm going to say typing Nishi. And now I'm just going to connect the first frame to the next like before. And you will see that I'm leaving it all to defaults. So because there are so many people and there's so many prototype settings that are changing, this might change for you. But just remember that set the animation part to smart animate and just leave the curve to ease out, because I have found that ease out works best for this animation. If you want to play around and work with other options, feel free to do that. So I just changed this to ease out. My duration can be 200, 300, 250, whatever you want. And once you do that, just keep connecting one frame to the other. So if you're working on your individual file, you don't have to check these settings because they're going to be the same as you did before. But because, like Sanjib pointed out before, the recent prototyping settings keep appearing because there's so many of us. So when you're stringing, just make sure that all of this is right. and that's all. And what I did was I connected my last frame to my first frame as well. So this loops. And that's honestly it. Like I've not done anything else. So once again, just go to your LottieFiles plugin, export to Lottie because this is what we're working with. And I'm just going to look for my typing Nishi flow. Okay, this could take a minute. Oh yeah, okay. And that's it. So I guess this is it. And I'm going to pause here if you guys have any more questions or want to ask anything. And after this, Sanjib is going to take over and he's going to blow your mind with all the cool animations that he's going to show you in a bit.
Thank you so much, Nishi. It was brilliant. After your explanation, for me, it will be a walk in the park because everybody is up to speed and everybody will be follow exactly. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So quick introduction. My name is Sanjeev. I'm from Kolkata, uh, also known as Calcutta. I'm with LottieFiles, working as a senior motion designer, and today I'm very happy because so many people are trying out the LottieFiles plugin for the first time, and being a part of it is a great thing. So I'm happy. Thank you so much. So before I start, I'll just share my screen. Okay, everybody see my screen, okay? All right. All right. So up until now, Nishi, you have explained to all of us how we can uh, create animation using the LottieFiles plugin with a single frame by using the presets. And then if you're gonna do something more advanced and not be at the mercy of the presets, we're gonna create multiple frames, and then we can create the animation. And if we want to do more and take control over how the animation is moving from one frame to another, we do prototypes and we give duration between those frames. So you have more control over how the animation looks like. So after that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and look at a few examples where we use those methods, the prototyping and everything. And we will, for this next part, we'll use strokes and mask, and we will be create something like this. So as you can see in this design, I have a login page of an app where I have a loading animation where it gives you a sense of this ellipse is loading with water, and we're gonna create exactly this. And in this animation, we have used two things, that is a stroke and mask. So in Figma, mask uh, is nothing but when you is a technique when you use to show only a part of a layer by hiding the areas outside the shape of another layer. So what do I mean by that? Suppose you have a shape over here. I'll give it a color, and you want this shape to be visible only inside, let's suppose this star shape. So here, this star shape would be my mask. Inside this, I will mask this shape. So what I will do, I will take this shape and keep it. I'll go to the layer section, and I'll make sure this star shape that I'm going to be masking into should be at the bottom over here. and I will put the shape that I'm going to be masking on top. And I'll select both the shapes, and I'll go at the top and look at this button called Use as Mask, and I will click on it. So as you can see, the shape is inside the star shape, and the star shape is being used as a mask, and nothing I can see outside the star shape. So using this technique, we will create this loading animation that we have just seen. So for that, we will need two wavy shapes. I already have prepared it so that we can get on this quickly. So I have these two shapes. All I need to create is the first frame. So for that, I will go here and create my first frame. Okay. Now I will go to the shape button and click on ellipse and create my first ellipse. Okay. Now this ellipse is going to be used as my mask, and inside that I'm gonna be putting these two shapes. All right. And again, I will do a copy of this ellipse, Command C and V, and I'll remove the fill color, and I will add a stroke, and I will change the stroke width to somewhere 4, and I'll keep it in center, and I will increase the size of it like this. I'll change the stroke color to the same blue color over here. All right. Now I have the basic thing set up. I have the ellipse that I'm going to be using as mask, and I have the stroke that is outside. Now what we will do, we will take these two shapes. I'll create a copy over here so that you want to use this. I'll take these two shapes. I have one lighter and one darker. So I'll put the lighter one at the back and keep it like this so that they overlaps like this. And I will select both these shapes and move it inside this frame. Since these two shapes are very big, sometimes it can feel like it's very difficult to put inside that frame. But if take it inside, it should be all right. Now that I have this shape inside this frame, now what I will do, I will do the masking. So for that, I have this stroke shape that is there. I'll put it below. And oh, okay. So sorry. I will put these two shapes inside the other file as well. Oh, it's there. Anyways. All right. So what I will do, now that I have this shape inside this, and sorry guys, is there a problem? Can you please? Okay, all right. So I will after I do this setup, I will make a copy and put it there. Just follow as of now. So what I will do, I will select both these shapes, and I will select the ellipse that will be used as a mask, and I will select all of this. Make sure the ellipse that is going to be used as mask is at the bottom, and I will select all these 3 layers and click on mask. Now that you see, these wavy shapes are inside this ellipse that is working as a mask right now. And if you move it, it is only moving and visible inside that ellipse. So this is the basic setup of this animation. So I'll keep it here, somewhere here. What I will do, I'll do a copy and paste on the other file as well. Okay, all right. Thanks, Nishi. Okay, all right. So now I am done with the first frame. Now I'm going to be uh, duplicating the first frame by pressing Option and click and drag to the right side. So what I have the exact copy of the first frame. And onto the second frame, what I will do, I will go inside and select both the shapes and move them up a little. So as you can see, sometimes it happens, it comes out of the mask because I was moving too fast. So when it happens, all you need to do is just press Command Z to undo the action, and we will move it slowly. Or you can press Shift arrow, up arrow to do the same. And after that, what we will do, we will select the shape that's there at the front and move it to its left side so that you have this uh, wavy animation somewhere here. And we will do the opposite to the shape that is there at the back. We'll select that shape and move it to its right side. So we are just changing the position of these two shapes in their opposite side so that they make a impression like they're moving, and we have this wavy animation. And once we do that, we'll again select both the shapes and put it all the way up till the entire entire ellipse gets filled with the blue color somewhere here. And we will come back to the first frame and we will drag it down until it is not visible. So for that, I will use the shape. I will use the uh, arrow keys. So because if I do this, it will be outside the mask. So we don't want to do that. We will do Command C to undo that action, and we'll press Shift and down arrow. Now it is completely out of visible. It means in the first frame, we don't have the water visible. And on the second frame, they come, they go up, and also they are going in the opposite direction, so that we create the illusion of waving animation. So that is pretty much it for this animation. And next, what we will do, we'll do the prototype. So for that, we'll go to prototype tab, and we will select the first frame. I'll open the Q&A. Okay, all right. So I will select the first frame and do this prototype linking. And here, as you can see, I have Smart Animate selected. And what I will do, I will click on ease in and out. So what it will do, it will start the animation very slow, and in the middle, it will pick up. The speed of the animation will be high, and at the end, it will end slow, so that we have a very smooth animation. And for the duration, I will keep it at 2 seconds. 2 seconds means 2000 milliseconds. Let's see how it comes, how it works. So as you can see, I have flow number 1025, but I will change this to loading animation so that it is easily visible. Yeah. And now next, I will go to, so by the way, guys, I'm using the old Figma UI. So for that, I need to go to this button and go to plugin and search for LottieFiles, or if you have opened it before, it will come in the recent section. So I'll just open it. And I will go to export to Lottie as before and search for this flow name, Sanjeev loading animation. Yeah, here. So right now, as you can see, it's very fast. We need to make it a little bit slower. So for that, what we can do is we can go inside this prototype and increase this duration. Right now, it is 2 seconds. We can increase the duration by 4 seconds, and let's see how it works. So for this, after you make a change to this prototype, you don't need to go back and select the prototype again. You can select this button called refresh flow. What it will do, it will re-render the flow again for you. So if you click here, as you can see, the animation is a little bit slower, but I can see there is some delay before the animation starts. So nothing happens up until it comes here. So let me check what is happening. So I don't have any delay. It should start. So both these shapes are at the bottom. They're not so far. I don't know why it is happening. So I'll just do another try. Okay, all right. Now that I have this animation ready, what I will do, I will select this stroke and I will increase the thickness of this so that it becomes like this. And now again, I will refresh the flow. As you can see, the stroke is also animating. So in the first frame, the stroke width was 4. And in the second frame, the stroke width becomes 22. And that's how the stroke is also animating. So as you can see, I have this animation ready. And after that, what I can do, I will save this to my workspace, and I will share it with my team member for feedback and everything. And after everything is done, I can hand it off to developer or someone who is implementing it to a website or an app. So I'll select a folder and I'll click save. Now, as you can see, this animation is in my workspace and it is playing. I can insert it as a GIF to show in my Figma prototype, as I have shown here. This is nothing but a GIF over here. And if I want to collaborate and share it with someone, I can just click here to open it in my browser. If I click here, it will open it in my browser. Just click. So this is the animation I have just created, and I can open it in my browser. And it sits there inside my workspace, that is Figma to Lottie. So from here, you can also download and share a link to someone who can see this animation. So we're going to spend some time over here and see. So the developer, you might you might give the developer a JSON file, which they can host somewhere, but you can also give an asset link from our LottieFiles platform, which we will talk about it a little bit later in the in the handoff part. So more on this later. Can you repeat the whole task once again? Yeah, sure. So in this loading animation, I'll just try to create the same animation once again. So if you see, this animation is nothing but these two waves are going at each other at their opposite direction, and it is happening inside that mask, and that is creating this illusion of uh, waving shape and this loading animation. So I'll do again from the beginning. What I will create a frame. Come to design tab, create a shape, create a frame. I will add an ellipse, which I'm going to be using it as a mask. I'm going to do a duplicate and of the same shape and remove the fill, add a stroke, make increase the size a little bit so that is a gap, increase the width of the stroke, and change the color to this blue, and keep it in center. All right. And what I will do, I will keep this two shape like this and move them inside this frame. Once they are inside the frame, I will select the mask shape and select these three shapes. The ellipse shape that I'm going to be masking inside, that should be below, and these two wavy shapes. And click on mask. Now, as you can see, these two shapes inside this ellipse mask. Now I will go to the next frame. I will select both these shapes, move it up, and at the same time, what I will do, the shape that I have in the front, I will move them a little to its right side, and I will do the opposite to the frame that I have at the back, to its left. I'll slowly move it. If you do it like this, it can go outside the mask. So I'll do undo and do this like this. Once I'm done moving, I will select both the shapes, move it all the way up until it fills the entire mask and becomes blue. And I will come back to the first frame and move these two shapes all the way down by using the arrow key. All right. And I will select this ellipse, that is the stroke, and increase the width. That's it. And you just need to, all you need to do is prototype. Select the first frame, go to prototype tab, connect it with the string. It automatically gives you a flow at the first frame. And what I will do, I will choose ease in and out. Give 4 seconds for the entire animation duration, 4000 ms. And I will go and open the LottieFiles plugin. Go to export to Lottie. And and select, try to search the flow that I have 1032. Yes, this one. So yeah, I think we are okay with this one. Cool. All right. So we're going to be moving on to the next one that we have for you all today, where we're going to animate, create an animation with multivariant components. So this one is a bit different. Whatever we have learned so far, why is it taking time to start? So let me just go back and take a look at the animation, why it is taking so much time. Usually it should not take that much time. Let me just quickly troubleshoot this. Let me change the ease. To linear. Maybe it has something to do with the ease in and out. Maybe I can use ease out and see how it is looking. Yeah, I think you can change the ease type from here, and that should solve your problem. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next part that we have, which is creating animation using multivariant components. So what do I mean by this? So whatever we have learned so far, those animations were like created in a single flow. So uh, what this multivariant components enable us is putting two animation in a single frame and create even more complex animation. So for this, to demonstrate this, we have an example over here, which we are going to be demoing right now. Is that flow number 36? Yeah. So this animation that you see over here, this one is a combination of two separate animation that is put together and to create a complex animation. So these two animation are done inside these two separate components. So a component is nothing but a collection of variants. So inside this, I have this animation, and inside this component, I have this animation. So both this animation is coming together inside this frame that has a flow, and I have just selected that flow to come up with an animation like this. So it will be much easier to understand once I do the demo. So to start with, we will create a frame. And let me just take the colors. This colors, I really like these colors. Yeah. So first, we will create a shape, a star shape. and we'll increase the number of points and make it look like this. Okay. And change the color to this. I'll do a duplicate of this shape and make it smaller. Change its color to this. Now I have this first frame ready for the first animation. And what I will do a option click drag to make a duplicate of the first frame. And I will select both the shapes and rotate them. Rotate clockwise. Please make sure, as you can see over here, the rotation degrees should be minus 79, so that it becomes a full round. So once I do the animation, you will understand how it gonna be in the result. So now that I'm done with this, both these shapes, I just want them to rotate. Now I will go to prototype and select the first frame and do this prototyping. And for this one, in the easing drop down, I will select linear, because I want this rotation to happen in the same speed. I don't want it to start slower or faster. I want this rotation to happen in a linear speed. So I will choose linear, and I will keep the duration to 2 seconds. All right. So I'll just, for the sake of curiosity, I will just look at the animation, how it looks like. I have a flow number 1034. So as you can see, it's rotating. So I have the first animation ready. Now I will go to the next animation, and for that I will create another frame. And this time I will create an ellipse. Oh, sorry. Oh. And I will apply gradient fill to this ellipse shape, and the gradient would be radial. And I will change the colors. For this one, I will select this, and for the color that is outside, I will select the yellow color. Okay. And then what I will do, I will create a duplicate of this file, of this shape, make it smaller, and I'll just reverse the colors and make another duplicate and reverse the colors again. Okay. So I have the shape for the first frame. Now I will duplicate it, and I will make another duplicate. So in the frame that I have in the middle, what I will do, I will select this three circles and make them smaller. And the shape that I have at the back, I will make it even smaller. So I have the frames ready. Now I will go and do the prototyping again. Go to prototype, string it from the first frame to the second frame. I will keep it at ease in, make it 1200 millisecond, and from the second to the third, I'll keep it at, no, I will keep it at 1000, and this one 1000. Okay, and again I will look at the animation, how it, I will go to export to Lottie and click on flow 1041. So this is how the animation will look like. So what I want this, what I want now, I want both this animation to combine in one Lottie animation. So for that, what we need to do, we need to select both the files. By the way, guys, is it going too slow, or should I make it a little bit faster? Is it easier to follow? Just give me a thumbs up. All right. So for this to happen, what we need to do, we need to do an extra step, which is we need to select both this frame that I have this animation for. We have to select both these frames, and we have to go to this button, create component button, and we have to select create component set. And for people who are using the new Figma UI, on the left side in design, if you click on design, on the left side you have these three dots. You can click here and click on create component set. So both this thing does the same job. It's just that the placement of these two buttons are changed because of the Figma new UI. So right now I have this animation inside this component that has two variants, and we will do the same for this one as well. Select the three frames and go to create component button and select create component set. Okay, now that I have both this animation inside two components, I will create another frame, and what we will do, we will select the first variant. So this is a component that has two variants. We will select the first variant and click option, press option, click and drag inside this new frame. I will try to make it in the middle. I'll try to place it in the middle of the frame. Now I will do the same thing with the second animation as well. I will select the first variant, press option, and drag and move it inside the frame. Okay, so now that you can see, we don't see uh, both these shapes inside this new frame because we need to remove the fill of these variants. So we'll select this frame and remove the fill color just by clicking on this I button. It will remove the background color and make it transparent. And we will do the same with this components as well. Okay. Now what I will do, I will make this round shapes at the bottom, and this star shape should be at the top. Now that I have moved two components inside this new frame, I will go to prototype, and I already have a flow. And if I open the LottieFiles plugin, I should be able to run this animation 1034. So for this, what I will do, I will increase the size of these three ellipses so that the animation looks even more visible. That is happening in the back. And I will do the same with this as well. Now I will click on this refresh button because I made some changes onto this component. So I want to see the final result. So I'll click on the refresh flow. As you can see, I have brought two separate animations inside one frame. So this is how you can create even more complex animation such as this, where you are using the power of multivariant components. And we have one more animation to show that we have created using this method, where in this illustration that is Cabin in the Wood, you have this animation that is happening is a combination of three separate animation: this house, this wavy shape, and the sun. And also we have another example to show where you have this biker who is going forward, where it's a combination of multiple animation. So yeah, using this method, you can create even more complex animation inside Figma. You don't have to go to After Effects, and from Figma itself, you can hand it off to the animation to developer. So yeah, up until now, do we have everybody in the same page? Okay, why? How did the flow came in the first frame when you merge both the components? So it happens automatically. So when I converted this animation into a component, it had a flow, right? This flow got removed automatically by Figma, and it also happened in here. And once I had this, uh, dragged inside this frame, the new frame where I'm combining the two components, it automatically got the flow. I don't know how it happened. This is how it works in Figma. And if you don't have a flow, just uh, select the frame and create another flow over here.
Hey Sanjay,
Yeah,
could you show the gradient settings that you used in the circle? A couple of people are asking in the chat.
yeah, sure. So, so I'm using a radial gradient over here. So you have this ellipse, and in the fill color, if you click on the fill color, you have the gradient option next to the solid color option. You click here. Once you click on the gradient button, you have a linear gradient. So there are one, two, three, four types of gradient are there inside Figma: linear, radial, angular, and diamond. So only linear and radial works with Lottie, but if you select angular or diamond, this type of gradient doesn't work in Lottie as of yet. But if you select radial, you can change so you have two stops, that's one in the middle and one in the outer side of the ellipse. You can change the position of these stops to create an gradient effect that you want, or you can also move this anywhere you want to to your liking. And to change the color, you have to change it from here. Just click here to open this color picking box, and from here you can choose the color, and you can do the same one from here as well. So yeah, I hope this answers the question. Okay, all right. So now we're going to be looking at quickly looking at how we're going to implement whatever we have created so far in a in an application or a website. Yeah, that's a very helpful link that you have just shared. You can visit LottieFiles.com supported features. From there, you can see all the features that is supported right now. So up until now, this was the part of creation. Now we will see how we can implement this animation into a website or an app, and how you can hand this off to a developer who is working on that. So for that, what we will do, we will open the LottieFiles plugin. And we'll open the LottieFiles plugin, and we'll come here. And we'll try to insert an animation that we already have inside our workspace. For example, this one we have just created a few minutes back. So what we'll do, we'll try to insert it as a GIF. I'll keep it as medium, 500 by 500 works best, and uh, check on this transparency, because I want this to be transparent. And I will click on insert as GIF. Should not take more than a minute. It's taking time. Let's use another one. Let's use this one. Insert as GIF. Now that you can see, I have inserted this animation as a GIF. Now, if I want to hand this off to a developer, what we will do is we will select this animation. I'll just close this off to, yeah. I will select this animation that I have just inserted inside Figma from the LottieFiles plugin. And I will go to the dev mode by clicking on this toggle, dev mode. And you will find this dev mode button if you are in the new UI of Figma, somewhere here at the bottom on a floating menu bar. So you can click there, the dev mode, and the panel that you have on the right will change to something like this. And here you need to click on plugins. And in the plugins, there is a search bar. From here, you need to search for LottieFiles. So once you open this LottieFiles app, it may ask you to log in. If you're not already logged in, you just log in the same way that you have done in the first place. And as you can see, this animation is being played over here. And from here, all you have to copy is this code. This code is an HTML embed code, which you can use to embed it in any website. So to demo this, I have a code pen open here, and I'll just paste it here. And in a few minutes, it will see the animation will be played over here. So right now, the animation is being played. There are more settings that you can play with. So from here, if you click on show all settings, you have some toggles to work with. So the first one says autoplay. So what it means, whenever the page opens or whenever the application opens, it will start playing automatically. So if you don't want that, you can check this off. And I want this to play in a loop, not once, in a loop. So I want this to be checked on. And I want to play this on hover. whenever I'm hovering it, so I can check this on. And I don't want to see this player control, so I check it off. And you can also control the speed. Right now it is at 1x. I can also click 2x. Right now it is uh, a little bit more, has more, little bit more pace. So after you're done with all of the settings, you again go ahead and copy this settings. You copy this HTML embed code and go back to your code editor and paste it. Now, as you can see, it is not playing because I have this autoplay checked off. When I am hovering it over the animation, it is playing. And also see the speed is also changed. So this is how we can hand this off, implement this on a website or an application. Or if you want to hand this off to a developer, all you have to do is copy this asset link. So this animation is currently hosted in the LottieFiles workspace. And if you hand this asset link off to a developer, that person will be easily be able to implement it wherever it is needed. So that was the quick demo of how you can hand this off. So for people who don't have access to this dev mode, because it's only available to, I think, for the enterprise subscriptions, please correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't have this dev mode available to you, you can still do that into going to our LottieFiles workspace. So after you create the animation in Figma and upload it in the workspace, all you need to do is open the animation that you want to hand off. For example, the same one I'll open, and click on this button that says open in browser. So if you click here, it will open this animation to your browser. It will open this animation to your browser. And from here, if you don't have this left panel not open, you can click on this button that says handoff and embed. You can click it here. Right now it's not loading. What I will do, I'll just do another refresh. Okay, it's not working. Figma to Lottie. Open this animation. Yeah. So if you don't have this panel on the left, on the right, you can click on handoff and embed. So from here, you need to click on handoff. And for this, for you, maybe it will be not be enable. So you need to click on this enable asset link. So after that, you will have all these options available to you. So from here, you can copy this same embed HTML code and paste it on your code editor, and it will work the same way as it did in the Figma demo mode. Sorry, dev mode. So if you want more control over how it plays, you can also have access to that as well. You need to click on customize button, and it will open the animation on another page. From where you have all these options, like how big or small you want this animation to be displayed in the a website or an app. If you want any background color or want this to be transparent, you can also access the animation speed, autoplay, hover on play on hover, and everything. And if you scroll down and click on copy code, and it will be working as it did before. So as you can see, I have played it on hover. That's why it's working. And I forgot to remove this player control over here. So yeah, control I don't want. I'll again copy it and go here, paste. Yeah, right now it will work. So that was a quick tutorial on how you can hand this off to uh, or how you can implement this to a website. So I think we are almost at the end of our workshop. And the next one would be the challenge that we have for all of you, which Yamin touched upon a little bit at the beginning. So here, whatever we have learned so far today, we're going to be put that into use and create at least one animation. If you go to the page called Figma Challenge, sorry, I'm in the wrong file. If you go to the page called Figma Challenge, from here, we have provided you a graphic toolkit to get started with. Over here, you can use this graphics to make an animation. And we have some examples for you as well. I'll just quickly show you what you can create today. For example, we can create this animation. It's a multivariant one that Yamin has created. So you can create simple, rotating. You can rotate a few shapes and create something like this. Yeah, and that should be all. Mao, anything else that I need to mention?
Hi Sanjeev. Yes, if you could like go over to the submission requirements part. Yeah. Let me quickly go through this. So it cannot be just one single frame. It has to be a prototype or a multivariant animation, as you have learned through the session today. And yeah, please don't use the example as it is. Please use your own section, create your own section down below, and then add your name in to your name, similar to how it's shown here, your name and hash final. And once you're done, you can go to the link. Sanjay, could you move over to your right a little bit? Yeah. And when you click that link here, you'll be taken to a type form where you have to just simply fill in your name, and the instructions will be in the title, in the link it as well. And you have until 11:59 tomorrow, IST time. So please submit your forms before that for you to get the certificate. Yeah. Yeah, just go through this and good luck on creating a beautiful animation. And another thing, you are not limited to the shapes only given here. Uh, you can use other shapes that fits to the same theme. So be as creative as you can be and show us your animation skills. That's about it, everyone. Thank you so much for attending to this session. Hope you learned a lot. And for newbies who are just using Figma and our plugin, hope this is a fun way to begin your animation journey. And for experienced Figma prototypers, hope you guys learned something a little bit more in this session. And congratulations again for joining the session. Yeah.
And also, just one more thing. After you're done with your challenge, please make sure that you select your section, uh, do this copy link to section, and provide that into the typeform form that you'll be filling as soon as the workshop is over. So yeah, that is very important. Thank you.
And we will try as much as we can to answer your questions. You can just press C on your keyboard and write a comment, tag any one of us here, and we'll try to guide you as much as we can to help you guys out. Yeah. Yeah, we are getting a lot of questions about the recordings, Suraj.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a common question. So we will upload it on our YouTube and other channels. We'll also post the links on our WhatsApp, as we'll also email you the emails you have registered this event from, so that it will be directly in your inbox. So it will upload it in a few hours as soon as I get the file from Google Meet. So feel free to go through the recording once again. If you have missed any steps, try it again, and yeah, let us know. We are looking forward to see your submissions.
Yeah, one more thing. When you are submitting the animation, the email address that you provide to us, please make sure that email address is the same address that you use to sign up for LottieFiles.com as well. Because our once you get the certificate, your LottieFiles profile will also have the badge up there. So you will be a certified LottieFiles Figma user. So yeah.
So there are questions around where to get the type form. So it's in the final challenge file. You can see the link in the Figma. Yeah, we will email the link to you as well after the event so that everything is structured. So yeah, no worries about it. Okay, I'll quickly have a screen for closing keynote. You're almost on time, so that's great. First of all, thanks to all the instructor years, Mao, Nishi, Sanjay, Gavin, Jitu, uh, for walking us through this. It's been an interesting topic that a lot of people in the community have been very curious about. So I'm finally happy that they know how to do magic and animation with the LottieFiles plugin. I'll be personally trying it out over the weekend as well to experiment and learn more. So excited about that. One good thing which I really liked is you guys also went through all the comments in the Figma files and have responded to a lot of the queries. So thank you for that. I know while working with Figma files, you have certain very technical questions, so you have answered those. So thank you. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are amazed looking at the things you can do with Lottie files. I saw a few questions, Aaron. Someone was like, it takes around 6 to 7 steps to do it by smart animating Figma, and you do it only using two things. So things like those, I think, have totally blown our minds. And we hope we can use this plugin in our day-to-day life as designers as well as developers. Uh, I know a lot of people cannot click the camera icon, but what I can do instead is I'll use the spotlight feature in Figma so that I can see all your cursors together. I think that will be a good moment. So I'll do it for both the files. I think Rishabh, we can take a screenshot. Yeah, this will go on our socials. No, Shubham, spotlighting me. Yeah, this is a photo frame that you have, yes, at the top of the file. So, yes, make sure you have your names. I'll do it similarly for the second file as well. It's great to see so many cursors in the same file working together. But yeah, Rishabh, let me know if you click a photo of similarly for group two.
Yeah, I'm done with this one. Let's go to the next another file.
Yeah, yes. I think both the groups have been great uh, in terms of working around. And someone mentioned it's a very structured file. Yes, thank you for that. We'll be posting this on our socials in 1 or 2 days. We have something interesting. so we'll post it. But fun seeing people all across the world coming together on one Figma file, working on something together. That too on a weekend. So really appreciate it. Perfect. Uh, all great events come to an end. So this is the end of another event. But feedback is very important for us. And we would love to hear what you felt and experienced in this event. Feel free to share your thoughts, things that you like, things you feel that we should improve. Your feedback will help us do more such great events and do better events. So feel free to scan this. I will also share the link on a chat so that it's pinned. We'll be also sharing the link for the email that comes right after this event. But yes, thank you everyone for joining. It has been an amazing 3 hours we all spent together. We are dot on time, so that's again very impressive. Um, yeah, I hope to see you all in our upcoming events, and I wish you all have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.